Today I want to talk to you about a book that is a classic. Some of you may have been assigned to read this in school. I'm a little jealous if you were. I never was assigned to read something like this in school. But the book I'm talking about is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. Now, The Hobbit is the precursor to The Lord of the Rings, which is a trilogy of books. Really, it's one book that was divided into three volumes. That was made into three fantastic, phenomenal movies that have sparked the love of many people for quite some time now. The Hobbit was also made into a trilogy of movies that are much less loved by those who really love The Hobbit, but if you think of them as something else, they can be quite enjoyable as well. The Hobbit is the story of Bilbo Baggins, who lives in Middle-earth, a fantasy world created by J.R.R. Tolkien and carried on into the Lord of the Rings series. Bilbo Baggins is a hobbit, which is a race of people that are farmers. They're very small with long, hairy feet and pointy ears, and they primarily work and farm and live quiet, reserved lives. But no matter how quiet and reserved a life Bilbo wants to lead, sometimes you're forced to become part of something greater for the greater good. Sometimes you're forced into an adventure. And sometimes maybe there's a part of you that loves that adventure to begin with. So Bilbo finds himself on a journey with a wizard and a dozen dwarves or so, going straight into the heart of a battle with a dragon, and there's a man who changes form, he shapeshifts, and there's orcs and goblins and elves and all kinds of wonderful, fantastic things that Bilbo never would have encountered had he stayed in the Shire. And there's also the discovery of a specific ring that plays a role in The Lord of the Rings. I highly recommend The Hobbit. If you're someone that likes fantasy at all, J.R.R. Tolkien is someone whose writing had a significant impact on generations of fantasy writers. George R.R. Martin, who wrote Game of Thrones, the Song of Fire and Ice, would not have been able to write most of what he wrote had J.R.R. Tolkien not come before him. So I highly recommend that you read The Hobbit.